Hey everyone, Sergio with the Rideshare Guy. Welcome to a special episode of Behind the Wheel. What do we say on Show Me the Money? Every week, put as many tools as you can in your toolbox. Well, we have a new tool for you guys. So here's Gillian from HERide. Gillian, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Super
So
glad to be
please
here.
introduce yourself. Please tell us what you did before HERide, and then we'll get into HERide later. But how you got into rideshare or the gig economy in general, give us a little bit of color about that.
Cool. So I graduated college 2015. I went to Albany State University down in Albany, Georgia. I was a computer science major, but I was also a three-sport athlete. And so I was actually trying to pursue going professional in basketball. That's
Okay.
how I got into rideshare because gig economy worked out better for my workout schedule. I could just work whenever I wanted to and then work out whenever I wanted to. So I got into driving Lyft and Uber in Atlanta, Georgia, but I mainly drove at night. And so one of the things that I kept noticing over and over again is whenever I picked up a woman, they would just go out of their way to tell me that they were either canceling rides till they recognize the woman's name, or they would want to exchange information so I can just pick them up outside of the app.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, this sounds like a feature that could easily be just fixed on the Uber and Lyft app. I wonder why they haven't done it yet. And a couple years go by, I'm still driving rideshare, I'm still working temp jobs, and I realized that this is something that they just don't plan on doing. And so I just started to look up, what it takes to make a rideshare company.
Okay.
I'm a big podcast listener, and so how I built this had the founders of Lyft on their podcast. And when I realized it was two people that started that company, I was like, "Oh, I can do this! Like, oh, this is not that hard." So I found a company to develop HERide and launched it on the market in March of 2020, and we've been rolling ever since.
Okay. So you got there quicker, but so what happened
Oh,
with
my
the
bad.
basketball career? What happened with the basketball career? Didn't work out?
So I only played 1 year overseas. I went to Morocco.
Okay.
It trying to get well, one, it's different now because I finished college right before NIL was approved.
Okay.
And so I wasn't getting paid for real. And then
Yeah.
when it comes to getting going overseas, the pay that they were paying overseas, I could sit at my job and do help desk and make twice as much.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't really want to sacrifice my body and my needs anymore for pennies. And so I decided to come back home and start working in my field, which was
Yeah.
I decided to get into IT.
You were a little bit too early. Look what's happening to the
Just a little
WNBA
bit.
now,
I told
right?
my
Just
mom, I
so
was like, "Oh my God,
missed it by
dad,
this
5 years
much.
later." I know
And,
they're
and you
getting
know, and
paid
then
now. I'm
and
happy for them.
yeah, and then NIL showed up, and a lot of people making a lot of money. You're right, but we'll get back to rideshare, and so we got the history of what you've done. So tell us a little bit about how you formed the company. Is it a TNC? Is it only in Georgia? Give us all the information we need.
Yeah, so her ride is a TNC. Right now, we are only in Georgia. We're operating out of the Atlanta area, trying to launch in Athens, Georgia, where UGA is, going into this football season this year. But outside of that, we are the third rideshare company outside of Uber and Lyft to be approved at Atlanta's airport, which
Okay.
is, I guess, voted like the busiest airport in the world every year. But that happened for us in 2023, and that really started to boost our numbers, and boost our trip completions. So
Okay.
proud of that.
Yeah. So you started in 2020. Do you drive for her ride? Do you do trips for the company?
I started off, so I was driving. We gave our first ride. I was the one that gave our first ride back in 2022. But since this year, I haven't given any rides.
Okay.
I'll get on the platform just to see who's online, who's not online. I'm always checking that, but I
Okay.
haven't given any rides since 2025, thankfully.
You know how the other two big guys do it, right? They're CEOs for photo op. They'll go out and do a couple of trips in Napa Valley and they think they did something, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've gotten down and dirty. I actually wanted to keep doing rides. My co-founder was like, "Jill, you gotta let some other people get them." I'm like, "Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'll
No, I
let
mean what they call it dog fooding, right? And
hmm
but they will never understand the pressure that the driver is under, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, we got to pay rent, we got to pay the car note, we got to pay insurance, gas, all the maintenance. So, Is her ride the same as, well, I'm not going to say as Uber and Lyft, but the concept is the same, right? They're all independent contractors and things like that.
Yes, all independent contractors, but we pay our drivers 80% of the
Okay.
fare.
Um, and the process of onboarding is the same, like with a background check or a tougher background check, or how does it work?
I would maybe our background check might be a little tougher. If you have any felonies or anything like that within the last 7 years, it's an automatic denial on our
Okay.
platform. And I'm also a lot stricter with the MVR violations. And that just helps us with insurance costs. If we have people that don't have any crazy MVR violations on their record, our insurance is lower. So I
Okay.
try to be a little strict on the MVR, stricter on the MVR.
Okay.
But legally, I apologize. Legally, we cannot we cannot have anybody that's had a felony within the last 7 years due to a law
Okay.
in Georgia.
Okay. So her ride, I mean, for all of you who haven't caught up yet, it's all female drivers, right?
Yes.
And as you know, but I don't know when it was, about a year ago, year and a half ago, the brilliant lift that they are, they said, "Hey, yeah, I think this is going to be a good idea." I'm like, "Sure." And I don't know how it's working out with them, but how has the growth been as far as driver acquisition and rider acquisition is concerned with you guys?
Rider acquisition's been great. We haven't spent any money on ads in terms of like spending money to acquire customers. The money that we spend is to acquire drivers, and that's what I'm working on getting up for us or making it a little bit better. So looking for more full-time drivers on our platform.
Right,
What really helped us out is being on the news. We've been on pretty much every local news station in Atlanta, right? And anytime that we get on the news, people that want to drive for her ride, they sign up in droves, but we're not getting those drivers that drive full time and this is what they do to pay their rent, those type of drivers.
right,
At the same time, we got to be able to offer enough trips for those type of drivers to be on the
right.
platform. So right now we're revamping the app. We're adding on a dispatch module, and we have a couple of companies and organizations that are they're waiting for our dispatch module to be done. But once that's finished, they're going to come on our platform, and some of the trips that they book Uber and Lyfts with, they're going to be booking her rides with as well. So we'll be able to
Okay.
increase that for them.
So you're adding to the app as far as um on demand, obviously, but scheduled trips and things like that as well, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Actually, 90% of our trips are pre-booked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you also have on demand?
Yes, we do have on demand, but we encourage our customers to book in advance due to the lack of drivers that are available on demand
Okay.
all the time.
So, I mean, look, the market is massive, right? I mean, the total
Mhm.
addressable market is massive. And I know the numbers from Uber, more than 50% of the riders are female.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we have a market that's established. That's what I'm actually thankful to Uber and Lyft, that they have created this ridiculous marketplace, right? I
Yep.
mean, other than that, I have nothing good to say about these companies, but they have created the market. I mean, you probably, I don't know if you watch us or not, but I mean, I don't pull any punches. So it's like,
Yeah, no,
call it the way you see it. You know what I mean?
for
But
real.
anyway, so let's talk a little bit about, you said you pay 80%, 80% of what? 80, like, Uber says, oh, advantage mode, it's 5% more. I'm like, 5% more than what? I don't even understand what that is.
It's
But
80% of what the customer pays
no,
flat
I know,
out.
but do you have okay, so do you have this algorithm? Do you have
No.
a dynamic pricing? Do you have surge? Do you pay by a rate card? So how does that work?
So we have a rate card, and we charge per mile, and then we charge per minute.
Okay,
And then of course there's a waiting fee, and if you're going to or from the airport, there's an additional charge as well.
right.
And the driver gets 80% of that,
Okay,
just flat out. There's
okay,
no, we don't mess with the algorithm. We don't change it up. We're not out here trying to. We don't even surge. I haven't even implemented surge pricing. We have the ability to do surge pricing,
yeah,
but the demand hasn't reached there yet. And
okay,
I've talked about it, and I only want to do surge pricing in places like if there's a concert at the stadium, if there's a game at Truist Park, and there's a lot of people that are trying to get out of one place at one time. That's the only time I would want to implement surge pricing, but not just because it's rush hour traffic.
okay,
I'm not really interested in surging during those times.
okay. So, do you mind telling us what your rate card looks like?
Yeah, rate card is, I believe last time I checked, is 84 cents a mile.
Okay.
And then we're charging almost, I want to say 60 something cent per minute. No, it was 24. I think it was 24, 25. And I've upped it a little bit. I think it's like 34
Okay.
cent a 34 cent a minute. And then if you're waiting, we charge 25 cents a minute for the
Okay.
waiting fee.
Well, that's reasonable. I mean, I think that's better than Uber and Lyft rate cards were before upfront fares.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it seems like you're just taking it slow, right? I mean, as opposed to growth at all costs. How's the company, how's the funding? Because look, I consult with a lot of startups and companies in the space. The first thing they ask me is like, we want to get into the rideshare business. The second thing I say to them is, how many billions in dollars do you have?
Right,
Because it's an expensive thing to do. That's why we only have two, right?
right.
But her ride being only female drivers, right? Now, are your clients or the riders are also only female, or can a male order a trip on your platform?
A male can order a trip on our platform. It's just really the way that we advertise it. So like the same way pads and tampon companies
Yeah, yeah,
exist and they advertise to really only women, but men
yeah,
know they exist.
yeah.
That's kind of how it goes. If a man finds out about our platform, it's usually because a woman's told them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, I have to ask you this because we did talk when Lyft did this, right, about a year and a
Mhm.
half ago. Unfortunately, not too many women drive because it's a dangerous thing to do. I mean,
Right.
people think rideshare is easy. Rideshare is not easy. Because you're dealing with all kinds of who knows, right? You can have up to
Right.
30 people get in and out of your car. And what did our parents tell us, right? Don't get in a car with a stranger, you know what I mean?
Stranger danger.
Yeah. So when Lyft did this, there was a little bit of a pushback, right? Pushback in the sense of, oh, this is discrimination. I'm like, what are you
Hmm.
guys talking about? I think this is a brilliant idea. I don't know why nobody else did this. So what do you say about that for folks who I'm sure are going to come down and leave a comment? Oh, this is
Oh yeah.
discrimination. I'm like, well, what do you say about that?
I mean, there's already two other platforms that control 98% of the market, so we're
Yeah.
not technically discriminating. And then we've actually already dealt with that on a legal standpoint. Someone reported us to the ELCC
Okay.
a couple years ago, and they found no wrongdoings in what we were doing because legally everybody's an independent contractor, and under Georgia law, we are allowed to choose who we want to work for us from 1099. They call it like right to work, those type of things, those type of policies. Now, in different states, we'll have to look at the legalities of the situation and see what we can and can't do. But I don't plan on excluding men totally from this platform.
Okay.
So when it comes to rideshare, thanks to Uber, we have gone way out of just giving people rides, right? They're doing food delivery, they're
Yep.
doing package delivery. I want to get into pharmacy delivery.
Yep.
And once we get into that, once we break into those fields or into that area, then I'll allow everybody to be on the platform. Like I'll allow men to do package delivery. I'll allow men to do food delivery if we want to get into that space. But when it comes to just giving people rides, yeah, her ride's gonna only have women drivers giving passengers those rides home because
Okay. Yeah.
women don't have any other option when it comes to transportation in that way.
That makes sense. So as far as you said, other states, let's talk a couple of minutes about your growth trajectory, expansion
Mhm.
plans. What are they?
Other states, the main two cities I'm looking at right now is Houston and Dallas.
Okay.
Houston, is essentially like a larger Atlanta, if you want to talk about just surface area. And then it's also a place where public transportation isn't like the first option. People primarily using their cars there. And so any major city that's kind of not set up like Atlanta, but people are mainly still using their cars. That's where we're interested in being at. We've gone viral a couple times on social media, and we get requests from everywhere. People from California, people from New York want us, Philadelphia, Charlotte, North Carolina. So all these places want our services. It's all about figuring out what their TNC permit price is because it's different in every other
Yep.
state. And then what their laws are, and then what the insurance guidelines and everything like that is. So the cost of doing business in all those states, figuring that out, and then connecting from that way. Yeah.
So I have a couple other questions and then I'll let you close. And first question is, you said insurance. As you know, Uber and the duopoly always complaining about, oh, our commercial insurance are going up. So Do you provide the same type of insurance for your riders and drivers during period three, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And
Legally, you have to if you want to be qualified as a TNC.
as a
Yeah.
TNC, okay.
hmm
And how are those rates? I mean, are they excruciatingly high or
Not excruciating. It's high.
yeah,
But it's not something that's breaking our bank, right?
okay,
So we've raised about 93,000 in family friends round, and
okay,
then I've won almost 100,000 in pitch competitions. I will say I've spent almost half of that on insurance and just making sure that our drivers are insured.
okay. And one other question is, as you know, Waymo, right?
Yeah,
They're in bed with Uber. They're coming
yep,
to Atlanta exclusive, right? And
yep,
we have World Cup next year. It's going to be a big busy time. And Lyft is also coming to Atlanta
yep.
with their autonomous partner, right? What do you say about that? What do you think about that? Do you think it's just good overall for the marketplace that's going to create more demand, or is it going to hurt the drivers? What do you think about that?
I think that it's going to do a combination of both. It's going to hurt drivers, but it's going to bring more demand to the marketplace. The only thing about it is coming to the South with stuff like that, people aren't really going to catch on that quick. Like I've seen the Waymos driving around
Yeah. They're
Atlanta and
having
stuff like
trouble,
that.
I hear.
Oh yeah, they're having major issues. The way our city is set up, it's not set up like a San Francisco or anything like that. So
Yeah,
they're having some major issues in terms of just navigation.
yeah,
Um, so I think that people are still going to be slow to adopting to just having nobody in the vehicle with them.
that's true.
Um, they're out here and I've seen them, but I've
Have you
also
been in
seen a
one?
lot of
Have you been
clips
in
of
one?
the Waymos getting stuck in different places in Atlanta.
Have you tried one?
Yes, I've used the Waymo. I was out in I've actually used a Waymo out in California, and I've used
Oh, okay.
Lyft was running they were doing like a self-driving thing in Vegas one time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I got in there. Now they still had two people sitting in the front
yeah.
because I guess they were still testing it
No, I'm
out.
saying like, have you tried a Waymo in Atlanta?
Oh no, I haven't tried one in
No,
Atlanta. I'm
well,
not gonna lie, I haven't tried.
there's no driver anymore. I mean, I've been in like
Yeah,
6 or 7 times, and it's a trip. I'm telling you, it's not. It's not like you give your life away for the next 15 minutes to nobody, and it's a weird feeling. It really is. But
yeah.
then I guess everybody gets used to that. So
I'm gonna try
look,
one soon though.
I'm done with what I wanted to talk to you about, ask you about. I'll give you the floor. Tell us whatever you want to talk to us about. Her ride or anything else that comes to your mind.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to HERide, I think that what we're doing is really impactful. There have been other companies that have come out that have, that are trying to do what we've done in different areas. And for me, in Atlanta, there's a whole bunch of like the thing with Atlanta is a lot of people like to eat wings, right? Lemon pepper wings is what we kind of known for, right? And when you go down the street in Atlanta, you can pass at least 5 to 6 wing shops on the same road, right?
Yeah,
So to me, that's kind of how I look at rideshare. People still got to get to where they got to go, right? And thanks to Uber and Lyft, they've already adopted this mindset of people want to use rideshare, right? They don't mind getting into a car with strangers. So if they're gonna do that, then at least give them more than just two options.
yeah,
And so that's how I look at her route. I just look at us as an alternative option. And then also we're paying people more. So
yeah,
for the women that, especially with this economy now, you got to have two jobs in order to
yeah,
survive. And so we're paying people more. And if you want to work part-time with us, work full-time with us, we're going to be here and we're going to give you those trips that are going to be available.
yeah,
So that's how I look at it. I just see us as another option. I'm not out here trying to like take over what Uber and Lyft is already doing. I don't have the resources to do that, but I do want to capture a good percent of the market. Like Atlanta's airport last year did 2.5 million rideshare trips, and if we captured 10% of that, just 10% of those numbers, that's like 7 million in revenue
Oh,
from one
I honestly,
location.
you don't even get there because Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson is the busiest airport in the country.
Right.
And Chicago O'Hare is two and LAX is three. And I
Yep.
know I've been in Atlanta a couple of years ago and I know about it. And it's a wonderful airport actually. But, I say to all my startups that I consult with, I go, listen, TAM, total addressable market, is so large. The
Right.
pie is so large. All you have to do is just a little tiny sliver of that
Just a
thing.
little
Yeah,
sliver.
just a little thing. You said 10%, forget 10%. You take 2%. You take 2%, you're a billion dollar unicorn. Okay.
Yeah. You're
But
right.
so yeah, here's Gillian Anderson. So are you the CEO?
Yes, CEO and founder. Yes,
Okay,
indeed.
well, here she is from Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I'm glad to meet you. So whatever you need from us, you let us know, and we'll be glad to help you guys out. Yeah, her ride
Thank you.
coming around.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Big fan. I'm just so happy. Can't believe I finally got to sit down with you.
Oh, well, I appreciate it too. And you stay safe, stay healthy, and keep us posted, please.
Will do.
Thanks for watching this episode of Behind the Wheel on the Rideshare Guy. We've been doing these interviews for the past 6 months with very successful drivers from different cities around the nation. Click here for another episode. Make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications for other episodes of Behind the Wheel as well as amazing content on our channel.